Texas is a place where our legacies became our living. Where there was work, there were families. Towns sprang up like new grass, and as they grew and evolved, they took on a character and a flavor all their own. Today, the very heritage that shaped our economic fortunes has become an industry in itself. People come to Texas in droves to experience history and culture that's unique. In fact, tourism is the third largest revenue-producing industry in the state. The benefits of cultural and heritage tourism are huge, and communities across Texas are looking for ways to turn Lone Star assets into Lone Star attractions. If you're ready to pioneer a cultural and heritage tourism initiative, consider this 5-point plan. Now, let's take a little swing around Texas and see how 5 different cities have put our 5-point plan to work. Start with an honest appraisal of your assets. What do you have going for you? History, folklore, great old buildings, ceremonies?
In the early 80s, we did have to take a hard look at what was going on because the oil business began to drop, the cattle business was not great, and those are 2 of our biggest industries. So our leaders in town, especially Mayor Giles McCreary, who was our mayor for 22 years, began to look at what could be done to keep our town alive and keep it and make it grow. In 1985, we applied for the National Endowment of the Arts grant to rehab the Algerita Hotel. It was the first hotel built by C.W. Post, and it is now the Algerita Arts Center. Once that got going, it looked like a thing that could really give Post a boost if we could get the rehabbing done of all downtown. Mayor McCreary decided that it was time that we did something else for the city, so we applied for the Texas Main Street program, and in 1987 we were designated a Texas Main Street city.
Another piece of the research process is identifying the themes that define your town.
I think the themes that define Post are our oil business, our agriculture, our farming and ranching, our heritage background here. People are infatuated with C.W. Post, and they equate him with being the cereal magnate. So it's a natural thing for cultural and heritage tourism here because people are interested in C.W. Post.
The next step is to interpret all that information. Look for links between themes and resources to find the best way to tell your story.
When we started looking at what made Galveston different, we have an amazing array of things that have happened here. Galveston was a major port when it was first started, a thriving metropolis in terms of its shipping and its cotton, its banking industry. It would be pretty foolish for us in Galveston to look to develop a theme about a fort when, in fact, that's not what we have. What we have is Victorian architecture. What we have is the official opera house of the state of Texas. We have a downtown area that was, in fact, the Wall Street of the Southwest. What we have are the beaches. We have the history of the 1900 storm. The Grand 1894 Opera House is in many respects the microcosm of the spirit of survival of Galveston. They used the Grand as a place to come back together, to cry about what had happened, to maybe laugh a little bit and forget about what happened, but to pull together as a community, which is what community is all about, and it's what the culture and heritage of a community is all about.
As you look for ways to tell your story, you don't want to overlook the obvious, but at the same time, you want to look beyond the obvious to create an experience that's authentic and unique.
When people come to this community, they really do get the sense of stepping back in time on a Dickens street, or they go into homes that have been lovingly cared for and restored so that they, again, give you that experience.
Maybe you create a walking tour, stage a festival, or develop a museum, or maybe you do all 3.
All of the things that go together to make you special are part of that cultural and heritage tourism. And it is that which draws people to you because they want to know about you and you want to tell them.
Next, you want to get the community involved. This kind of initiative is too big, too complex for one individual, even one organization to tackle alone.
Hidalgo, Texas is a small community in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas on the Texas-Mexico border. And what we were trying to do is find something that would make people want to stop in Hidalgo. There's really not a lot here. And so we have to capitalize on some of the historical buildings and some of the things that we have here in the community. And the pump house was that project that we identified as something that we could capitalize on to get people to stop and visit something here in Hidalgo. From day one, all segments of the community and all of the community leaders have been involved in the pump house project. We applied for a grant to do this project for a $900,000 grant and actually received the grant for $720,000. But when we went to bid out the project, it actually came in at like $1.3 million. So the city had to go back and find the extra funding, and we were able to do it.
A good way to build support is to make sure people understand the benefits of cultural and heritage tourism.
I would have to tell other communities, whether small or large, that if they have a cultural or heritage tourism project, they should do all they can to put this project together. The benefits that you will see, we have seen here in Hidalgo, and the rewards are great. We have experienced a lot of tourism because of this project in Hidalgo that otherwise we wouldn't have had.
If a community doesn't appreciate its own culture and history, why should someone else? Community support for cultural and heritage tourism is absolutely essential. So getting that support should be a real priority.
It's important that we instill pride in our kids and pride in our community, and this is a project that's really done that.
When you're ready for business, how do you get the people to come? That's where marketing comes in.
Cultural tourism is, in the business sense, marketing a destination through its cultural resources. San Antonio is a pretty sprawling community, and a lot of very interesting activities are going on beyond the downtown area. Beyond the Alamo will hopefully help people do just that. Enjoy the Alamo and then go beyond it to find very new and unique things about San Antonio that they haven't seen before. And we've packaged different kinds of activities in 3 or 4 ways so that we can give people different options about how they want to go beyond the Alamo. The people that we're trying to reach with the cultural tourism marketing effort are people who tend to travel for more than just the ordinary. This marketing effort helps people from outside our community learn about San Antonio, but it's also a wonderful way for people in our own community to rediscover some of the richness of their own heritage.
You have to know who your audience is and make sure they get the message. There's lots of ways to do that, from signs on the interstate to a website on the internet.
We want to advertise in cultural publications. The internet, of course. We're hoping that visitors who come to San Antonio as cultural tourists and take advantage of our Beyond the Alamo offerings will spread the word by word of mouth. That's the strongest form of recommendation that we can get.
Finally, once you get visitors to your exhibit or event, how do you make sure the experience lives up to their expectations? Well, that's a pretty tall order. And that's where partnerships can make a difference.
Culture and heritage is such a big part of Fort Worth, such a big part of Texas. But you have to have the forums to dialogue, discuss, and to go forward with it. You have to look at it as a system, because when the visitor comes, and they see a performance or they see a museum exhibit, that's not the only thing they're doing. hopefully they're staying overnight, they're going to restaurants, they're having what is really the complete experience. And that's why all of those people need to work together. Sometimes the hotel people aren't used to talking to the museum people. We need to be facilitators of that collaboration. That's a key part of our role, and everyone needs to come forward with the good ideas.
Finding partners with the right skills to share the load can sure increase your chances of success.
The City of Fort Worth, through the help of a lot of different entities and people, have created a project that I think is one of the kind of really premier projects from a heritage tourism standpoint. City employees dressed authentically like 1880s cowboys each day, twice a day, and drive these Longhorns along Exchange Avenue. In just the first year, we've had almost $2 million worth of publicity about the cattle drive, and that's wonderful. The world knows about the cattle drive in Fort Worth, Texas.
Remember, partnerships don't have to stop at the city limits. For small and rural communities, connecting with neighbors is a great way to maximize your resources and create a critical mass of cultural and heritage attractions.
Bottom line is that you need to be very creative in your collaboration to make cultural and heritage tourism successful. But the payoff is tremendous.
So, there you have it. Research, interpretation, community, marketing, collaboration. The fundamentals for making cultural and heritage tourism work. Every town has a story to tell, and you want to tell yours in a way that's authentic and unique. Be creative, have a vision, share it with everyone. And whatever you develop, do it with quality and originality and style.